God is good. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about Baldur's Gate 3 because patch 5 has just hit today. And I want to talk about what they've added to it. Now, this is a pretty good update. Now, if you've been playing up to this point and playing every patch and really putting in a lot of time on it, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if it's worth it for you to jump in every single patch, right? What I'm afraid is going to happen, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to absolutely hate this first chapter by the time the game comes out. However, if you've not played Baldur's Gate 3 in a while, you're a couple of patches behind, or you're just so thirsty to really dive into every little detail as it's developed, then this is for you. Now, it does have some cool things in it, and we're going to talk about all those throughout this video, and I still believe that all the options we have, that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be the most professional Dungeons & Dragons experience on PC we have ever had. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to tell you about what I'm doing in the future on this channel for Dungeons & Dragons. But let's get going. Before we begin, I want to give a big shout out to the members of Napalm. I could not do this without you. You are the sponsors of this channel. Thank you for your continued support. If you are interested in becoming a member of Napalm with exclusive perks, please click the join button down below for more information. And a very special shout out to the Lords of Napalm, Bounty Code, We Smoke Bitcoins, and Tango Hotel. Thank you for your highest tier membership. Alright, so let's talk about all the things we're getting from patch 5. So first of all, they're changing up skill checks some. So they want it to be easier to see bonuses on each check for a roll. And also they're adding inspiration points that you can spend on rolls, much like 5th edition has. Now we're going to get more detail about those inspiration points, how you're going to get them, and all that kind of thing actually right now. So let's talk about that. So it's character backgrounds. Now you may have noticed when you make a character in Baldur's Gate 3, you select a background for your character. And this is basically just the kind of backstory, your individual story for your character that you're making. And it reminds me a lot, of course, of like a pre-generated character sheet you might get with a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, where each character has different goals that they want to complete, and just different objectives and things like that. So that's the way they're doing it in this game, which I think is really smart. And by completing those, or by making decisions that fit with your background, so kind of like role-playing your character, you get inspiration points. Normally a DM would give you those for doing stuff like that, right? But obviously this is a game where the developer is a DM, so that's how they decide to do it. I think it's really smart to do it that way. And you get awarded that, and that helps you with rolls, right? You can use your inspiration points to get better rolls. Now, they're also adding disarming enemies, so you can disarm your enemies. Enemies can now throw weapons, pick weapons up off the ground, and all that kind of thing, which should add even more variety to the already, in my opinion, very complex kind of battles that can take place. And the thing about battles in Dungeons & Dragons, in my opinion, is you never know what's going to happen, right? You make a plan, the plan goes forth, and depending on the rolls and how things go, it can completely just go into total chaos, which is one of my favorite things about D&D, and it's very cool to see that Baldur's Gate 3 is adding all these little details into battle to try to mix things up, just make them a little different. Now also, they've changed camping in the wild. So when you camp somewhere, normally it would just be kind of generic background, that kind of thing, but they've changed it now to where it's a visual actually for where you are. So if you're deep down in a dungeon, that's where you'll see the background be. And for the thing about that is it's super complicated because there's cutscenes and all kinds of things can happen during that. So showing where you're actually at instead of something generic is a pretty big deal, and that's a really big update. I know it's just visual, but honestly, that can really just kind of pull you either in and immerse you, or it can pull you out when it's kind of generic. So I think that was a really great addition. Also, they've changed, on that note, the short rests and long rests. So you can now eat food to get full kind of healing benefits. Now, they did also say that this is kind of experimental. They want to try it out, see how it works, and it may or may not make it to launch as a feature once they gather data on it. Now, they've also changed it so that you can knock creatures unconscious. To be honest with you, I thought that was already in the game, but maybe not. I play so many games, maybe I've gotten confused. But anyway, it's definitely in the game now. You can knock creatures unconscious as an option instead of killing them, and I'm hoping that opens a pathway to like interrogate them when they awaken or tie them up. That'd be cool. I know there's already a crap ton of stuff in the game, but that would be awesome. Then they've also added a lot of new camp cutscenes, I guess, since they were doing the camping in the wild change. Anyway, they decided to go ahead and add in some new cutscenes, and and options there, and also there are a few new story options. There's some new things. I don't want to say exactly what they said in the thing because I don't want to have a big spoiler here, but there is some very key things that you couldn't do before in the story that you can now in Chapter 1. Now, I want to say that Patch 5 is out right now. As of today, it launched here on July 15th, 2021, and they also promised that Patch 6 is right around the corner. I think their exact words were, it's going to be sooner than you think. That's a good thing. They need to keep rolling, and I hope the development is going good because all we're getting to see is the changes in Chapter 1, but obviously, I would assume that as they're doing these changes, they probably, hopefully, are pretty far into the chapters on development, and it's probably affecting the entire game. This is a super complicated game, as it should be, being that it's trying to emulate a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and I really hope that they get it right because I love this franchise. And I'm going to talk more right here in a second about what I'm doing for Dungeons & Dragons, which I think is super cool, and I think you'll enjoy it if you like D&D, and I don't think you'd be here if you didn't. Now, also, Baldur's Gate 3 is unlikely, they said, to launch in 2021. I want to mention that. But they are trying for a 2022 release date, although they're not setting a date or promising yet, but they think that's possible, and I really hope it is because I really want this game. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is absolutely fantastic. This first chapter has so much in it. There's so many things that can happen. Some of them are by chance, decisions you made, places you go or don't go. I mean, it's a pretty freaking intense situation. I want the whole game to feel that way though. Right? I don't just want Chapter 1 to kind of set the pace and then the rest of it just kind of bleeds out from what's happened in Chapter 1. I want the entire game to feel this intricate because the replay value on this is going to be absolutely insane. Streaming it should be a lot of fun because you can set it up for your chat to make decisions on what you're going to do and what you're going to say and all that kind of thing. And plus with the dice rolling, I just love it. I love this game. And I think this was a pretty substantial patch. It's been a while since we got the big update with the Druid in patch 4. If you've not played Baldur's Gate 3 and you want to play it in a more raw form and kind of watch it be developed, then it's a lot of fun. But anyway, guys, I want to talk a little bit here at the end of the video about my Dungeons & Dragons campaign that I have coming. Many of you, that, especially if you've been following along with 5th edition D&D, you're probably aware that their very first campaign, official one, was The Lost Mines of Phandelver. And what I'm doing is I'm actually creating a video that will actually be a choose-your-own adventure. At the end of each video, we'll branch off into tons, hundreds of different options and decisions you can make. People in your party can die and, not be replaced, or actually there's a couple situations where they can be. You can save certain people in the storyline and they join you for parts of the adventure. There's so many ways to tackle every single objective, and sometimes even hidden in there, it may seem like it's the same option from a different story path, but because it's a different time of day or because of this or that, actually when you do that same option in a different story path, it will actually be something completely different. It's completely insane. It's hundreds and hundreds of videos, and of course all you'll see is the one video, and then you'll follow through at the end of each video picking what decision you want to do. It's done with puppets that I've made, props that I've made, locations we went out and found, we climbed in real actual caves. I mean, it's the highest production thing I've ever done, and what I wanted to do was create a situation where I can be your DM for thousands of people at the same time, and this was the solution I came up with, and to really give the full effect of this campaign. So the places, the monsters and creatures, the bosses, the NPCs, I wanted everything to be in here that was possible, and I poured a ton of time, been working on it for a year and a half, and I really hope that you'll join me for that. Please subscribe and look out for it. My Dungeons & Dragons The Lost Mines of Phandelver campaign coming soon. Anyway, guys, I had to throw that in there, plus I really need your support. I've spent a lot of money making these puppets, making these props, and I really need your support when it launches. So I hopefully you'll be here for it and join me on that adventure. It's going to be a ton of fun, and there's so many secrets and cool ideas slipped in here all throughout this adventure. But anyway, guys, enjoy Baldur's Gate 3. Super happy with this patch. Hopefully they keep moving and chugging right along. And until next time, guys, God bless and happy gaming.